Hello, and welcome to That Eurovision podcast, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. My name is Rory, and I'm not doing too bad today. We're back in a lockdown now, so that's a fun old time, and yeah, it's just helping me kind of focus on with my masters and everything like that. So I'm happy to be on today and talk about something that we tend to overlook here. So yeah, joining me.
Jazzy, it's been quite a interesting week, and I'm just excited to be delving back into the Eurovision world with this new episode. And it is something that we have overlooked so far, but I'm glad that it's getting its spotlight now.
It's Rosie. I am also recovering from election week now that that's somewhat over.
Hooray!
And I'm just having a bit of a chill time now.
Have a chill bit, but we know things are not going to be easy from now on. We all know that.
So they're not going to be easy, but they're going to be better.
Yeah.
Minutely.
Minutely is progress.
Tim here. I have not been doing much other than stuffing my face in lockdown 2.0. Tell me something you don't already know.
That's weird.
Like literally, like before this podcast came on, I've stuffed myself with Marabou. So yeah, that's how my day's going.
Honestly, though, that just sounds like so relatable right now.
And I am here being so healthy, and I thought I'd make myself a smoothie before I came on, but it kind of turned out more like juice with a lot of foam. It's still pretty good, but it is juice and foam.
I don't know the meaning of the word healthy eating.
Honestly, relatable. But yeah, so in this episode, we're going to kind of divert from the sort of normal Eurovision way, I guess, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about maybe some of the songs that you definitely will have heard about, maybe some that you haven't heard about, and that is because they were all in national finals. And for this, we're going to be joined by basically the creator of the fandom's unofficial NF250, AM. Hello.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me on with you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on as well. Obviously, like, I detect a Northern Irish accent there, is it?
It's a bit of a mix. I mean, I grew up in Spain, but my family is from Ireland, and I got roots from both sides of the border, you know?
Ah, right, okay. Oh, that sounds very good. Very international. Just so fitting for Eurovision.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. Fantastic. Yeah, so basically what we're just going to do, we're going to kind of reveal to you a couple of our favorite national final entries and it just kind of explain why we think they should have maybe gone to Eurovision or why they were quote unquote robbed, and I can already tell that Tim is going to go mental on that. Yeah, so who wants to kick us off with one of their favorite national final entries?
I can kick us off. I've mentioned, especially because I've mentioned this entry before on the podcast. It will be Erica Vickman Cialina from UNK 2020. I just really like this song. It's really different to anything that I think was in national finals this year, and her performance was amazing, and I just really think she deserved to win, and I was really sad that she didn't, although I did in the end really like looking back. It was just nice to see something like in Finnish in the national final. Yeah, it's just a bop. And in a way, it kind of took me back to Sara Aalto's performance. I like when Finland does something a little bit more extravagant. Yeah, it just made me like really, really happy to like see this and see it do well. Really did think it should have won though. And I think had Eurovision gone ahead, I do think it would have got Finland a pretty decent result because that performance was memorable and the song is memorable. And yeah, I just think it would have got Finland back in the final and possibly back on the higher enough on the leaderboard. So yeah, I just really, really like this song, and it was just so different to anything that was around this year, in my opinion.
I definitely agree that it would have done well, even though I'm like one of maybe six people who prefer looking back. But Cicciolina was one of the more like out there entries of the year. It would have made a splash, I think, at the actual contest. It kind of reminded me of some of Finland's 1980s songs. It was sort of a bit of a throwback, but a good one. I mean, it was my second favorite this year.
I mean, I'm always happy to see some sex worker representation, so we have to stand for that reason alone. But actually kind of on looking back has aged so well for me, and I think it might now be in my top 5 of this year. But wow. Cicciolina is so much fun, and it still just puts a huge smile on my face to listen to it. So I understand why people were disappointed when it lost, and I think there is something that is sort of very vintage Eurovision about it, but in a way that is so celebratory that I really, really like. And it's not just celebratory of that style of music, but it's also very celebratory of femininity and womanhood, and I really love that. I think the lyrics are so great, and it was it was really nice to see something in Finnish as well.
I really never understand why Finnish is so underrepresented in recent years at the contest, because it's such a beautiful language to listen to, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, I think the Finnish, like, again, even in UMK itself, actually, like, recently, the last time we heard Finnish at UMK was, 2017? And even then, like, in the actual show, I think it came, like, 7th or 8th or something like that, so there definitely needs to be a little bit more Finnish representation for sure. But yeah, I really like Cicciolina for its lyrical content. In terms of the actual music, I'm a little bit iffy, but that's just because I'm not a Schlager head or anything like that. So, you know,
I mean, to be fair, it did take me some time to lighten up to it, and then like it just crept on it from January to March, and it was like, oh my god, I just love this all of a sudden, because it's one of those earworms things, just like. And it wouldn't stop. So like, okay, I'm just going with this now. Like, you know, I really want this to win. It's like playing Eurovision predictions. Like, you know, there's a curse with it. Whoever, like last year, like whoever we predicted didn't really go through, did it?
I'll go for mine in which case. This is one of those sorts of songs where if you know anything about my music taste, you knew that I was going to love this song. And it's not a song that I think was necessarily sort of robbed or anything like that. I think the song that won this particular national final was really good. But I am folk music trash, and so my third choice for this year is Piga och Drang from Melody Festival in 2020. I love that kind of music. It's so much fun, and it's happy, and it's this fantastic sort of joyful, folky sort of sound. There's lots of violins, there's dancing, and it's every ingredient in a song that just makes me very, very happy. And it's nice to see a bit of Swedish representation again. It's really fun to see something that is so sort of cultural, I guess, from Sweden, because we tend to see what is very sort of well-produced, manufactured pop music, which is great, and Sweden is very good at that. But something that's a bit different from Sweden just made me so happy, and I think it should have gone to the final. Definitely deserved to do better than Andrew Chanson.
I gave it my 5 hearts. Like, I was literally like giving it all my heart. For me to watch that lose, I'm like, seriously, why are you doing this to me? Why?
And I know there are a lot of songs in this year's Melfest that a lot of people really took to. There are plenty of songs that I really took to in it, but this one has a very special place in my heart, and I think it's not had quite the same love a lot of the others have.
Uh-huh.
I definitely agree. It should have done better. I'm a complete sucker for this style of music too, and it's really lovely to hear Swedish, and it's really lovely to see something that isn't quite so polished, that feels a bit more authentic. You know what I mean? That feels a bit more. This is Sweden with 2 of its buttons down on its shirt, ready to party. You know.
I love that. I love that description of it.
Like, it seemed quite a natural performance, and I think that's something that Sweden have definitely been accused of over the last few years, is being a little bit too manufactured in terms of what they're sending to Eurovision, and maybe that's why it's not connecting with the public. And I think I would like something fun and quirky to be representing them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be terrible because I'm going to say that I didn't really watch Melfest this year, and so they're the song, but I will definitely have a listen to it now after we finish recording. So, yeah.
I wasn't even in the country, and I managed to watch it, like, running on caffeine, being, like, on the other side of the world, Rory. What were you doing?
Look, I'm sorry, I'm not a Melfest head, okay?
We need to talk. I'm going to say this again. We need to talk about your life choices.
Oh, shut up, Tim. Oh dear.
For me, I'm gonna be a bit. I don't know what the right word is. I think I'm gonna be like patriotic, because my third one is gonna come from the UK, and I really wanted this to win so badly, and I don't even know where it plays. But my song is from one of the You Decide shows that the UK ever did, and this one is from 2018, and it's called Crazy by Rhea. Hopefully I said her name right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like, the reason why I like it's a bop. It's like, I was in Brighton when I watched this, and she killed it, and she managed to perform it, to make it look easy performing it. You know, even if I bust those moves, I'd be out of breath. I won't be singing. But she managed to make it look easy. And, you know, I was there and I was just really gutted because she didn't win. And I was like, no. But, you know, I wouldn't even blame it, because we got Suri in the end, and Suri just wins the internet. She wins the Eurovision fan.
She's amazing.
So, yeah, she's amazing. And meaning by win the internet, this was recorded the day after the election won, and if you saw what she posted on Twitter, then yeah, you'd be laughing your ass off.
I have to say, 2018's You Decide was actually one of the strongest competitions, especially within the UK, for a long, long time. With the exception of like maybe one or two songs, pretty much any song that was in that selection could have actually gone to Eurovision. And I really took to Crazy like straight away on the first listen, and it's infectious. I mean, it is a little bit repetitive, but it is like, it definitely sticks in your head. And, and then as well as that, it's also written by Greta Salome as well. So.
That's another reason why. Yeah. That's another reason why.
Oh, it was such a good song. Definitely.
Yeah, because I asked her about it, and she was like, "Yeah, we were just writing, and it just ended up what it is." And I just said to her, like, "Are you ever gonna come back, even just as a songwriter again? Because we'd love to. You know, the Eurovision fans would love to see you again. But I really hope she does come back. You know, get revenge on her non-qualification. Damn you, 2016."
I still don't understand what was going on with Europe in those 2016 results. Poor Greta. But I never knew that she wrote Crazy. The versatility, I'm impressed.
Exactly.
Crazy still gets stuck in my head. I have to admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of a lot of songs in that particular You Decide, or a lot of other You Decides, to be quite honest. There was a particular fan favourite that year that I really didn't take to at all, and I'm incredibly glad we got Suri from that, not least because Storm was my sort of favourite song out of all of them. But Crazy has aged very well, and like I say, it still gets in my head constantly, and I've not even listened to it since then. I don't have that on my playlist or anything like that. I'm just walking downtown, and it's like, crazy, maybe just a little bit, and I'm like, oh damn it.
You know what? I've been asking her about this because she's been trying to get it released, because, you know, submit a song through BBC Eurovision, You Decide, and you somehow never see it through streaming platforms, but only on YouTube. She's tried to release it quite a few times, but she's always had a stumbling block. So, you know, hopefully whoever listens to this and finds out the stumbling block, please let us know. Please please allow her to release
Please.
it. Like, please. And also, Ray, if they bring back You Decide, please, come back for us. I'm pretty sure you'd give us an awesome banger.
Please.
International collaboration between Raya and Keira called Korea,
Korea.
which I would live for, to be quite honest, if only for the name.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go in a completely different geographical direction to the last couple that have been from the north and northwest, and I'm gonna go very far south, so far south that we end up out of Europe and in Australia. I've been really impressed by the last couple of Australia Decides, like the sheer diversity of the songs on offer. And this year and last year, there was like 5 or 6 songs in easily that could have done really, really well at Eurovision. But my personal favourite and a song that I loved from the first minute, and although I don't say that what actually went is bad, but this would have been my favourite Australian song ever, and it was in the previous year, 2000 and whatever, Electric Fields.
That was my second choice. That was also on my list.
Well, I'm glad to share the song with you. It just blew me away, and it isn't even in my typical style, let's say, because I'm more into sort of more downbeat ballad sort of things, but just the burst of pure positive energy you get from this song every time you listen to it, and the power of the lyrics of the bridge Kulina Merani in his Aboriginal language. It was just something that felt so authentic from Australia, and I'm still gutted that they didn't send it. I mean, they did really well with Zero Gravity, but 2000 whatever absolutely blew me away. I still listen to it all the time.
It is an absolute bar. I cannot say anything else. I think the delivery was so good. And I was actually really surprised when Zero Gravity came out of nowhere and just won it. So, because my money had definitely been on either 2000 or whatever or Courtney Act. So it was like a big shock that 2000 whatever didn't make it. But it's okay because everyone seems to love the songs like and Zero Gravity anyway. So that's always good.
I feel like everybody, like, when 2000 and whatever was first, like, released, everyone was like, this isn't just going to win Australia Decides, it's going to win the whole of Eurovision. And I still think if it had won, it may have done, because it was just something that was so different and so, like, fresh for Australia. And I do wonder, would it have got Australia their first win?
The other song that I was really into from that particular Australia Decides was On My Way by Shepherd, which I also think is a fantastic song.
Oh my god, that.
So much fun.
Like, I remember...
Yeah, the top 3. I love Zero Gravity. I adore Zero Gravity with all of my heart and soul. 2000 whatever is just incredible. On My Way gives me so much happiness, and that was such a fantastic national final. And 2000 whatever, I remember very vividly watching it, and they had the sort of clip beforehand where they had the interviews with the artists, and I remember Zachariah saying how powerful it felt to sing in his Aboriginal language. I am not even going to make an attempt to pronounce it because I'm going to butcher it. But I remember, but that really comes through, that sort of power and connection to your identity. And it felt so, I still get that same sort of feeling when I listen to it. I was listening to it as I was walking to Aldi earlier, and just having a great feeling as you do. And I think that has remained so strong with it.
Mm. And also, for the sake of impartiality, other supermarkets are available. So basically it's going to come to me now, and my first choice is a song that maybe not necessarily many people would have heard of, because it's from a country that not many people pay that much attention to in terms of national finals. But I'm going to go for Belarus 2018, and we're going to go for Shuma with the song Khmarki. I love this song. It's so dark. It's so ethereal. It's so ethnic, but it mixes so well with like the electronic elements in it. I feel like it really is like the precursor to Solove, and I think it was so bold for Belarus to even consider sending a song like that. And of course, it being in Belarusian as well, I think was a fantastic choice too. And also just the fact that like her kind of outfit was so kind of, I wouldn't say alien, but it was just so interesting. And then also just one little final shout out is just that in the music video for Khmarki, they actually tell the story of a of someone finding out that they're transgender and like being accepted for it. And we have to stand Belarusian like trans rights, you know.
See, I've not come across the song, but you've sold it to me, so I will be going and listening to it straight after this.
Please do.
It's definitely one of the best songs I've heard from any Belarusian selection ever. I still can't believe it didn't win. I mean, it's the kind of thing that feels like it landed in the middle of Belarus from some sort of flying saucer that landed in a field, because it feels so out of the world. I still can't believe that they went for Forever instead. I mean, this would have been, I think, top 10 territory for Belarus.
They were really missing out. They just had to pick the wrong song, didn't they? The gaping maw of Alexei.
Maybe his teeth hypnotized the jurors, you know?
Probably. So, yeah, shall we carry on with our second choices?
Yeah, I will be short and sweet with this one because both these artists have actually already gone to Eurovision, one before, one after. It's from Norway 2018, You Got Me, Alexander Rotten and Stella Mwangi. I just think this song's so fun. It's such a cute bop, and I definitely think it deserved to represent Norway. However, I'm almost glad that it didn't in a way, because I don't think we'd have got Kano had that song gone on to represent Norway in 2018. But it's also one of those songs that I didn't discover during the national final season. It's more one that I've discovered more recently. Just to delve in a bit further into national finals, and it's just something that I've absolutely fell in love with probably in the last year. I like it so much more than Alexander Rybak's song. Sorry if any of you are a fan.
No, God.
If you want to hear us rant about Alexander Rybak in 2018, listen to our 2018 episode.
I was just apologising to our listeners. I just think this song should have represented Norway in 2018, but on the flip side, I'm glad it didn't, because we got Kano.
It's not a bad song, definitely, yeah. And I think as well, it kind of was just like a really nice song anyway. And like given the chemistry between both Stella and Alexandra, I think was so nice, and it just showed like the versatility of them both, I guess.
Yeah.
We need a Kano Stella Mwangi collaboration now.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Are we planting seeds again?
Yes.
Also, it's time for Stella to get her redemption.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And she would have done with this song had it represented Norway, but it's time for her to get her redemption and come back and represent Norway and qualify for the final.
Okay, so AM stole my second place, so I have thought of another one, which is fine because this is another one that was floating around my head. This is a song that I am honestly still entirely shocked that it didn't win, not least because what won was iconic, but not necessarily in the positive way.
Oh god.
So the song that I've picked is Out of the Twilight by Sarah de Blue, from that time San Marino tried to do a national selection. And again, this is another one that's just so incredibly beautiful. The lyrics are so lovely and poetic and ethereal, and it's she performed it so incredibly well, and I am just so confused as to why it ended up being Jenny B. I still don't like. I have a soft spot for that song. I don't think it's good, but I have a bit of a soft spot for it anyway. But San Marino, your chance to win was right there. Out of the Twilight is just so incredible, and I don't understand why you didn't go for it.
Yeah, I mean.
Maybe that was the problem. Maybe they thought that they had a good chance of doing well, and it was like panic stations. We got to sabotage this beautiful track as best as we can.
Yeah, wasn't there like because of this ridiculous format like that they've done? It was a really weird format, wasn't it? Like they had to like put money in or something, or like support them through like music releases or whatever. It was a format that I didn't know how it worked. Even
I'm still not sure I know how it works.
It seems like a pyramid scheme or something. You have to invest. You have to invest for success. It was really, really strange. And in the end, it was decided by Zoe, wasn't it? And a couple of people. And what the hell was passing through Zoe's head? Maybe she's a secret rap fan.
Cut to that picture of just like Zoe in the middle of like 1 in 360, where she obviously looks like she just cannot be bothered to deal with this anymore, and so she's just there, like,
oh, are you talking about the face?
The face,
like that.
The face.
Although let's be real here, I don't think anything will ever now compare to the power of Jenny B. What you get is what you see. And as for Jess over there, she's a special VIP.
If they diss you on Twitter, don't be sad, don't be bitter, don't give up and be a quitter.
Yes! And that is some helpful advice. Oh, dear.
Okay, for me, of course I'm gonna go back to my faves. I'm still annoyed that this should have been her redemption year, but no. Sweden decided to send an anti-Eurovision song on the year they were hosting it. So, my second choice is Ace Wilder. I thought she couldn't up the ante from Busy Doing Nothing. And to be fair, I was kind of happy that she didn't win in 2014 because A, Sanna Nielsen deserved it, and B, I don't think you would have staged Busy Doing Nothing very well on that stage. But you were hosting the frigging competition that year. Sweden, what was wrong with you? Like, I thought that, the staging would have worked perfectly fine for Stockholm. It would have been a great party. Like, I'm just guessing now that Ace Wilder is an international artist and not a local artist, because she deserved better with that. That's all I'm going to say. But, Ace Wilder, if you are listening to this, please come back to Mello. We miss you so much. It's been 3 years.
Get over it. No, I love Don't Worry by Ace Wilder. I think I love out of her 3 attempts at Eurovision, that's like my favorite out of the 3 attempts.
Yeah.
I think I read that the stress of actually like doing the choreography and doing that, I think like she was on the verge of almost like a mental breakdown or something like that.
Yeah, she was pins and needles because of the fact that she came second in 2014. It was literally, was it a point or 2 points? I can't remember for the life of me. But yeah, it was 2 points. So that's another thing, like pins and needles on her back because of the fact that she came second. Everybody wanted her to win this time. So imagine coming back like 2 years later and you're like, nope, that's too much. Yeah. But, she participated again the year after with Wild Child, which placed really low. But I actually admire her because, like, she came back the year after and she just did it for wanting to enjoy the experience. And I actually like her for that. So, Sweden, 2020, it's been 3 years. Please bring her back. Thank you very much.
Okay. So I thought for my second pick, I'd go for the country who's who was basically my introduction to national finals, and it surprises many people because my biggest, let's say, enthusiasm is for Balkan countries. But it was the Baltics that got me involved in national finals. The first national final I saw was outside of either Ireland or Spain was in 1999, and fantastic final. But I'm not going to talk about the robbery of that year. I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk about a more recent thing that just basically broke me as a fan of Estonia. I was like, okay, R.I.P. And that was 2017, the Eesti Laul final of 2017. For me, it was like one of the best ever finals of Estonia. And I thought that it was going to go to Kerali with Spirit Animal. And I absolutely adore that song, still do. And instead, they went for basically, I mean, I don't dislike Verona, but basically a meme of two people who had about as much chemistry as a soggy bag of biscuits or something. You know?
Oh God.
I can't get over it. I mean, I and Curly like one of their biggest stars, and instead they went down the route of Verona, and I just find it the biggest robbery. And ever since then, Eesti Laul has not been quite the same to me. No offense to anybody who loves Verona.
Oh, don't worry.
Wow.
We all despise Verona. Like you
Oh,
had
thank God.
you no, I mean, think about it now. Like 2020. Has anybody seen that parody about Verona in 2020? Like,
We are lost in Corona.
oh,
A mood. Whole ass mood.
No, I love 2017 Eesti Laul. Eesti Laul in 2017 was so strong as well because we had Ariadne, we had what's her name?
Lena Kurma from Vanilla Ninja. Great
Yeah.
return as well with Slingshot.
Which is amazing, and I think as well Evelina as well, Sur Lottery. I think there were so many good songs in
I
that year.
I am so happy that you like Sur Lottery. I think it's such a gorgeous, like, really moving song.
And it's just like it's so nice as well because Evelina represented Estonia before in 1995. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then he came back and thought, oh yeah, this is it. This is the time I'm gonna make my big comeback, and it was just a really pleasant song, you know.
And the lyrics are so moving. I mean, it's all about, you know, how he's looking back on his life, and he's been through ups and downs, but it's dedicated to his wife and how she got him through it all. You know, it's really moving.
Aww,
Wholesome.
beautiful, honestly.
So wholesome.
Yeah. But no, Curly is like absolutely amazing, and like the fact it's so out there and so alien, I think that adds to it. And like given her international success as well, she also participated in Melodifestivalen as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was in 2003, I think it was. So fun fact there. But no, it was a great song. Honestly, I love Curly. If you haven't heard it, I feel like you definitely need to listen to it. It's very, what's the right way of saying, like, spiritual?
Absolutely, yeah. It's sort of Björk meets a shaman meets, you know, some other electronic vibes, and it was like nothing else in that selection. I mean, it was a great selection, but that really stood out to me.
So,
You've sold me on another song.
yeah, so it's back to me, and so my second choice is we're gonna go to my stan country, Ukraine. I was told by everyone on the podcast that I was only allowed to have one favorite from Vidbeer, so
We were taking the just because we knew that you were going to have loads from Vidbeer.
so far
Because I know how much you stand Vidbeer.
I do stand Vidbeer quite heavily, but I only have one in my top three, so it's all right. But I would like to give an honourable mention to Pitch by Katia Chili. That is the best song that's ever been to do with anything to do with like ethnic songs or anything like that deserves so much better. But for this song, we're staying in 2020, and we're gonna go for the group O with the song Pamkudi I Do, otherwise known as That Is Where I'm Going. I love this song. I think the live was potentially a little bit iffy, and I can understand maybe that might be the reason why people didn't necessarily like it. But the actual studio version is just so bubbly. It's so fun. It's really like, it's like the intro is so intriguing. And it has trumpets in it, and like her whole thing is what she's talking about. It's just like, just go and follow your destiny. Where I'm going, it's going to be sunshine. It's going to be good for the soul and that kind of thing. And you know what? I'm in love with that. So yeah. And plus as well, she has amazing dreadlocks as well. And I think you guys definitely need to check that out.
I'm totally on board with you on that. I'm a real fan of Yedbir as well, and I think it's picked up the mantle that Eestilau used to have of being like one of the more experimental national finals, and you've got so much variety. For me, it was so difficult to just pick one winner of Yedbir this year because so many good songs. I loved Peach, I loved 99, I loved Vegan, and I especially loved Pamgadi. Oh, I can never say the bloody thing. But the song by Grupo, it was a really interesting combination of sounds. Like, I got some feeling of like almost some ska influence in the background, as well as like more ethnic influence. And just really a good time song, you know. It was probably my favorite too.
And the thing is as well, Group O are well known as well for being very experimental in terms of, you know, time signatures and like the style and genre of music that they do. So honestly, if you want to, like, this would be a good kind of gateway song just to get to know them. But definitely check out some of their other songs as well, because they're so good.
Definitely shall. I've got some homework like Rosie to do after this.
Oh dear. But yes, shall we finish our top threes?
Yeah.
I will go on to my my last pick. My last pick is just a song that's very me, and it's not necessarily the song that I think is the most robbed ever. It is Shuffler by Samia and Victor. And I don't think this was Shuffler one that I have brought up this song. I just absolutely love it. It's just a fun spot that's in Swedish, and I don't know, I would have just preferred this going to Eurovision so much more than Dance You Off. I'm glad it got them their best result in Melfest. I think they came 4th. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy they got a decent result in the final, and sadly they've broke up now.
Yeah, that's the thing. They broke up, but the thing is, like
the week before they broke up, they were rumored to be in Melfest 2021, and then a week later, I hear they've broken up, and I'm just like,
oh,
sad.
I was.
You know, for all we know, they could be doing a Hatteri where they announced that they'd broken up because they couldn't end capitalism, and then 2 months later were in Songvakäpnen.
I mean, they could have, but then unfortunately, it's because Samir is now taking his real estate license. He's going to be a broker.
Oh.
And
Very
Victor,
grown up.
Yeah, and Victor is apparently setting up a social media like agency or whatever, from what I've seen on news floating about. But you know what? I'm gonna say this though, like that semi-final that Samir and Victor were in was the first Melody Festival and I attended, and I can see why they made the final because it was amazing. Like I was bopping along. I was like 3 rows in, and I was like, and like the people like all over me, like, sit down, dude. We can't see. It's like, okay. I'm guessing you guys got your ticket through sponsors, so I'm gonna go enjoy this.
Because I feel like when this song's mentioned, all people think about is at least it wouldn't have got 21 tally vote points.
Yeah.
Oh. But then my
I'm
other
gonna veer away
side
from that
is
concept.
it probably would have got about 21 jury points.
Oh, I'm really on board with. I'm so sad that Samar and Victor broken up, and I can't believe Samar's going into real estate. He's gone from tearing down the house to selling people houses. But for me, I really enjoyed all their Melfest songs. It was just pure good vibes, and they're so likable as well as performers.
And performers that sing in Swedish.
A rarity for Melfest.
A rarity that they've been allowed to do well.
I mean, from groupie to Border Nocta to that, I mean, come on. Like, imagine if they won with Border Nocta. That would have been hilarious to see.
I would have been okay with that. For no reason in
I think
particular.
fandom would have been as well, because then If I Was Sorry would not have gone to Eurovision.
I mean, as much as I love France and his current work, like, If I Were Sorry was just like, I still don't know how that got 5th place.
So my number one for this week is a song that I have not stopped listening to since its particular national final. I don't think it was robbed, because I think the song that won is so perfect, and I think it's aged so beautifully, and it's one of my favourites of its year. So I really can't fault it for doing so well. But my sort of favourite national final entry of this year is Ringo Starr by Pinguini Tatiti Nucleari. I'm such a sucker for a big band number and a sort of upbeat rock-ish sort of big band song. It was absolutely going to be my sort of thing. The lyrics are fantastic. There's a line in the second verse that I love that says, "You were Robin and then you found me. You thought I was your Batman, but I was only your Ted." That's so clever. I love it. Like, it's just full of clever cultural references. It's catchy. It's such a delight to listen to every single time. And I think I adore Fire More. I absolutely adore it. But Ringo Starr just has a very special place in my heart, and I have so much fun listening to it every single time I do.
Sanremo every year makes me wish that Italy hadn't reunified in the 1900s, and that we could have like 5 or 6 Italian entries every year. I mean, my favorite obviously was Sincero, but there was like 10 songs I would have loved to see in Eurovision, and definitely Ringo Starr was one of them. It was just so infectious, and as you say, the lyrics are so clever, so witty. I hope they will come back.
I hope so too. I've been listening to a bit of Fury Delight and absolutely loved all of it. So I want to see what more they do.
See, again, I didn't really watch Sanremo this year because I was otherwise occupied. But I'll have to listen to that song now.
Oh my god, Sanremo.
There was some incredible songs in Sanremo this year. I think there are every year. There's a reason Italy is my stan country, but
it's more of the length of it, really. I was in the Philippines watching Sanremo, and I was about 8 hours ahead from the UK. So
it's like a sensible time.
So basically, it finished. It was already daylight outside. I was in a hotel swimming, and I was like, nope, it's still not finished, for the result to be ruined on a Sky News breaking news thing at the bottom of the screen. I was like, are you fucking serious right now? You made us wait for that.
I mean, one of the things that I like the most about national finals is that it shows you more than at Eurovision sort of the national identity of the countries participating. And Sanremo is just so typical of Italy that I just love it. Okay, there's people walking out of the stage, normal. There's somebody falling down the stairs, normal. Some guy coming up and twerking with a girl, normal. And
It's going on for 8 hours, normal.
with Sanremo, you don't watch it. You just let it wash over you. You just say, I'm sure I'm not going to be sleeping for this entire week. I'm just going to become one with Sanremo.
I'm really hoping I can properly follow along next year, because I was having a proper fatigue issue when it was going on this year and I couldn't follow it the way I wanted to. So I'm really hoping I will be well up and functioning when it happens.
I mean, it's looking likely that we're all not going to be able to travel for national final season, which is breaking my heart just a tiny bit. So I'm pretty sure we can stay up late and just watch Sanremo until 3 a.m. Was like, are you serious?
Sanremo isn't just a show; it's a way of life.
say that as well, Festival Bacchanal.
And Festival Congress.
Oh my God, here we go. I mean, you'll read me like a book. I bet you all know what I'm gonna say.
God.
What an idea.
Yep,
so have I.
I'm gathering an army to fight for what's left in this world and unite all the world. I forgot the lyric. Yeah, basically I said Army of Love because, all the Filipino fans were rejoicing. Bella Santiago just won X Factor. And then the rumors of her potentially heading into Eurovision sent us all to overload. And when she got shortlisted, when she got the wild card, everyone was just like, it's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to happen. She's going to get it. And then, of course, on the night, Emily the Forest had to ruin the whole freaking thing.
Oh, yeah, because that was definitely the person who ruined it.
Yeah, she didn't give her any points.
Oh.
8.8, I think it was 8 points. Actually gotten 8 points from Emily. She would have just got it. But, not bitter about anything. Everyone's just happy that, we got Bella in some sort of capacity. But I'm just hoping that Romania sticks to this format and that she gets to go in 2022 and they work with her record label. I mean, yay for Vincent because we have a Filipino representative. So much for representation. I hope that he has Filipino language on his track. Unlikely, but we hope Bella can come back with something even better than Army of Love, because even though the fact that people are just going to keep comparing it to Fuego is just right there. But personally, for me, if I can bring one entry back and put it to Eurovision, this will be it. Because I'm
Montaigne
still
also
heartbroken.
Filipino.
Huh?
Isn't Montaigne also Filipino partially?
Yeah, partially, yeah. And Lorita as well. Her mother
Nice.
was Filipino, and then unfortunately she's passed away. So,
Aww.
which is very sad. And it's like, no, I would have loved to see her
Aw.
perform at Eurovision. But literally, whenever I meet up with them, we're all just like, oh, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Give them Filipino treats. I was gonna give Vincent a lot of Filipino. I went to the Philippines before I went here before lockdown and bought a lot of treats. So oh, okay, I'm gonna give this to Vincent when I see him. Nope, lockdown happens, Eurovision gets cancelled, so I just ended up eating it for myself.
And that's exactly what you should have done.
Exactly.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, Bella Santiago for 2022.
I can see the hype train already coming. I can already see it.
Oh my God! Imagine if a Filipino gets represented by a Big Five country, you'd see us losing our shit.
All right. Well, I'm torn between two. I'm going to go for the slightly older of the pair, and it is a song that just absolutely blew me away upon first listen, and even after 5 years, more than 5 years, every time that I listen to it, still it's like a sort of outer world experience, and that is Sweden in 2015. I've never been much of a fan of Heroes, but I absolutely adored Jag är fri by Jan-Henrik Fjällgren. And I think all three of his efforts have been so top-notch. With Norsken the previous year, with En Vel Fulla Frider. But I think your first is always your most special. And yeah, Free, I totally broke my heart to see it lose in 2015, and I still absolutely adore it and hope it'll come back in 2021.
He's been a pretty recent discovery of mine, and the way I discovered his entries was, I can't remember who was running the national final polls, but I think it was ESC John who was doing finding the best national final song by a series of polls, and I discovered them through that. And like you, I was absolutely blown away. I thought it was so beautiful, and I would love to hear some more music from him.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like his first two. I prefer Naughty Hit, because Naughty and he sings. He actually get to hear him sing, and that's what I really love about Naughty Hit, and that's why I really don't like the other two.
I mean, at least he's still showing off his culture in all three of them. So I guess that's something.
Yeah. Thing is that, like, on Nordigen, it was actually used as the music for Sweden because they were bidding for the Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games, and they actually used it on the bid video for it. Oh. So everyone was like, "No, Stockholm to win 2026."
Well, Northwind really got robbed as well. Seriously, I don't know what's going in the head of these international jurors, because it was really a beautiful, beautiful contribution.
Honestly, when I first heard it, I didn't expect anything like that to come from Melodifestivalen, because what I'm used to seeing from it is this sort of really well-produced, manufactured sort of pop music, and it clearly does well for them. There have been some songs that are more of your sort of typical Melfest style that I really, really enjoy. But I did not expect to hear that sort of cultural elements to it. Those that sort of thing that I'd only really previously come across in Kano. And knowing that it's so loved and that it's done so well and that he's doing so well and that hopefully he'll be back next year is really exciting for me. I think it's a really important thing to include in a contest like Melfest.
For sure. And I mean, 2015 as well was a very good year for Melodifestivalen, because, you know, we had Måns, we had Mariette for the first time, and of course we had Jon Henrik as well. So there's so many good songs in that selection. Actually, I was quite surprised that it was actually Måns that came out on top, really. So
I think Heroes is quite a crowd-pleasy song. It's good, but it's relatively inoffensive, and I think that's why it did very well in both Melfest and Eurovision. Like, I don't want to shit on Heroes. I think it is a good song, and I think it's a good winner, but it is quite safe.
But yeah, so it's time for me, the last one of the episode, and for me, we're gonna go slightly back. We're going to go back to 2017. I know many people don't necessarily like 2017, both as a year and in terms of national selections. For example, on the 2017 episode. But for me, I thought it was a really strong year in terms of, you know, national selection. So, you know, we were talking about Ace Dilal beforehand, as well as that we also had Supernova, we also had Dansk Melodi Grand Prix. But for me, myself, my favourite selection that year was Ema from Slovenia. And my favourite song from that selection is so good. I think I love it. It's so dark, it's so dramatic. She sings it so well. It's Nushka Drashchek with Flower in the Snow. And I absolutely love that song. It's so, like, menacing, but, like, in a, like, I could hurt you, but I'm not going to hurt you, that kind of thing. And in the end of it all, there's like a big crescendo, and there's like a big kind of like electronic glitches like here and there as well. I do think maybe the live might have like sadly like let her down a little bit, because she didn't really move that much. But like she literally had like little birds as earrings, and I think that is so like iconic, because obviously that's the year that we also had Blackbird. And I just love it. I think it, like, she sings it so well. Like, she's so powerful with her voice. You know what? It's okay. I guess Raven and Omar Naber had to come ahead of her. So, you know, choices. And be cool.
I agree that it was a really great year for EMA, and I'm still absolutely stunned that they made the choice that they did, especially given Omar's, let's say, less than indeed. But yeah, I mean, for me, there was like there was almost every song in the selection was better than the song they sent, and that was one of the highlights. It was just so trippy and so, as you say, such a dark ambience and a really beautiful track to listen to.
And it's so sultry as well. And, you know, like how we were saying, like EMA was so strong because, you know, we had Raven, we had Be Cool, we had Nika Zoryan. There were so many songs that, you know, like Slovenia is often criticized for being heavily, like, kind of underrated. And this just goes to show, you know, they had such quality in their national selection, and then they just decided to go with, you know, Mr. Rapist, and it's like, okay.
That was a choice.
Yeah. But no, genuinely, listen to Flower in the Snow, because I think it's you're really missing out if you haven't heard it. So, but yeah, so that pretty much takes us to the end of this episode of that Eurovision podcast. I hope we've kind of covered as many of our favourite national selections as possible. If not, we might maybe do a second round of these, because there's so many different national final songs, and I feel like we've only just taken like a small microcosm of them, and so maybe a little bit later on we might do an extra part 2 of these maybe. So who knows, we'll see. But yeah, thank you so much as well to AM for joining us, because we've loved having you on.
Thanks so much. It's been my pleasure. It's been so enjoyable talking with you all and sharing favourites. So thanks so much.
No worries at all. And of course, we also are hoping that everything goes well for the NF250 for this year. Do you know, can you like give us some information on like where we can go and vote?
Yes, so all you've got to do is, if you look up NF250 in the Twitter search, you should be able to find information. But if not, then go to TEA_EU as a user, and up at the top of the profile, you'll get a voting link.
Fantastic. I've already cast my vote, so I'm already like a proud Eurovision voter, so I think we've all done pretty well there. So fingers crossed we get a few more votes in there for you.
I'm still deliberating.
Oh god.
Still trying to choose.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
When's the deadline?
So the deadline is the 28th of this month of November, so there's still plenty of time. In fact, I haven't voted yet because I'm finding it so hard to pick just 10.
But yeah, so yeah, as well as that, thank you very much to Rosie, Jazzy and Tin for sharing a few of their hidden gems as well. Hopefully we'll be able to redo this again sometime soon. And yeah, in the meantime, please do continue to follow us on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at That Euro Podcast. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well, so please do follow us there so you get notified for whenever a new episode comes out. And yeah, in the next kind of couple of weeks, we'll be kind of carrying on with a couple of these country retrospectives and a couple of other surprises for you as well, because, you know, we gotta spice things up every now and again, I guess. Yeah, so shall we all say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye.